Well, welcome here at FedEx Field. I'm Sharla McBride alongside Darren Haynes. We just wrapped up another game with the Washington football team, and I hate to say it, yep, another loss, 31-13. Washington loses to the Kansas City Chiefs today.
Yeah, but one of the biggest moments, of course, leading up to this particular game, and we're going to talk about the game a little bit later, and make sure you Facebook fans comment below on this and how you feel about it. But Sean Taylor, they retired his number 21 jersey today, and let's just say it was a long week, or should I say a short week leading up to it. Not much of a notice. They wanted to honor Sean Taylor early on, but they announced that they were going to retire his jersey
On
about 3-4
Thursday.
days
Yeah, and I think,
before it actually happened.
that upset a lot of fans because fans wanted to get tickets. They wanted to be able to come out here today, and they wanted to be able to be a part of this, and they were only given 3 days notice, but the Washington football team did apologize. Ron Rivera also apologized. Jason Wright apologized, and they went ahead with these ceremonies today. We have some video of that we'd like to show you right now. It was an emotional day. They also had the number 21 painted on the field, as you can see. And his daughter Jackie was here. She's only 14 years old, and you can imagine, losing her dad. She probably doesn't have any memories of him. She was only an infant, and today she was here, and she was, waving to fans. She was signing things with fans, and she had some happy moments. But obviously, it's very emotional.
Yeah, it was emotional. I mean, we saw Jackie, tearing up after she was watching that tribute video, and I believe Jackie was maybe like 18 months.
Yeah.
When Sean Taylor, I mean, he was shot trying to protect his then fiance and his 18-month-year-old daughter Jackie at the time. And so when you're older and you see your dad knowing what he tried to do to try to save your life, I think anybody will get emotional because of that.
It's tough, and you see all these people here that also loved your father, that knew your father. You had the stands filled with number 21 jerseys. You had everyone waving those number 21 towels, and you had so many people here to pay their respects to Sean Taylor because he really was a beloved safety for this franchise. He only played 3 years with this franchise, but that was enough. He had the fans' hearts, and everyone here came out for him today.
Fans of the Washington football team, comment below. Let us know your thoughts, your greatest memories of Sean Taylor, because a lot of people at FedEx Field were talking about those memories, remembering where they were when Sean Taylor did this or did that, or where they were when they heard that Sean Taylor eventually passed away from those gunshot injuries, gunshot wounds.
And the players talked about it too.
Yeah, the players spoke about it, and there are some guys like Chase Young, a local guy who grew up a Washington football fan, and also Terry McLaurin, a captain, both the captains, spoke about Sean Taylor's life and the legacy he left behind.
Sean, he was everything, man. As a football player, you hear he was just a real cool dude off the field, a guy I wanted to meet, a dog, was swaggy, everything that you want to be. So I definitely used to look up to Sean and, try to be like him.
I remember watching him growing up and, hoping I got to the NFL. I'm like, man, I hope I don't get hit by him. But, he was a guy, there's great players all across the history of football, but he changed that position, the physicality, the mentality of being back there and just roaming the field. There wasn't anything that he couldn't do. So he left a hell of a legacy here. And, we would like to have a better showing on this day, but, hopefully the people that got to see the tribute and everything like that were proud of the way he was honored today because he deserved it.
Touch on that, but in regards to the overall game is the inconsistency of this team. I think I said it last week. This team is consistently inconsistent, and I think we saw that today when literally the first half, Charlotte, we're like, okay, this team is balling out. We're getting interceptions. We're making some plays. And then also
Yeah.
they went to halftime and ate the orange slices and orange juice.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
It didn't help. The
halftime.
oranges did not help. We were eating some oranges up in the press box. They were
good.
fantastic.
They were good.
But obviously they did not help the team. I think the main phrase today was a tale of two halves. Terry McLaurin taking a bite out of Charles Dickens' book. I like it. But we didn't like how they played in the second half. They had the halftime lead. They were up 13-10 at the half. We thought, all right, there's some fight in this team. There's some promise. They had a few turnovers. We liked what we were seeing. They had a few scoring drives, not enough touchdowns, but we liked what we were seeing. But again, not enough to win this game because that second half, they just completely came out flat.
Continue to comment below on our Facebook page. I thought at one time, I was like, whoa, the Kansas City Chiefs defense is worse than the Washington football team's defense. And I thought because of that, we have a chance because
That was the first half.
It was all the first half. Like I told you, we went to get orange slices, and then everything changed when we came back at halftime. But we're going to touch more on that defense. But obviously, this was one of those opportunities this Washington football team felt like they could have gotten the win. And there were a lot of those this particular season where they were just maybe a couple plays away from getting the win, and they didn't get that today. And I think
I think Ron Rivera was frustrated. I think we're seeing a lot of frustration. Here's what he had to say after the game.
We got to play two halves of football. We played a good first half. We didn't play a good enough second half to give ourselves a chance to win. But we've got to be able to handle the mistakes, correct the mistakes, and just keep going forward. The truth is, what is this, sixth game? We've got a few more left to play, obviously. But we got to shake this one off, learn from it, and then get ready for next week.
I think it was just a tale of two halves, honestly. Their defense came out and they kept everything in front of them. So you got to credit them. They made us really work for it and sustain drives, and we just didn't do that. So I feel like the defense did a good job of putting us in positions to capitalize on the turnovers they had. But as an offense, we didn't necessarily capitalize like we needed to. And when you don't capitalize when you need to against a championship team like that, you're going to get the result that you did.
You know, it's one I feel like that slipped through our fingers a little bit. I don't know what happened. I feel like in the first half we were solid. We was getting to the quarterback, forcing turnovers. Then I don't know.
Now, if you look at the Washington football team against the Kansas City Chiefs, they have now lost 8 straight games since they won their last game against the Kansas City Chiefs back in 1983. I mean, you got to go way back. There's a bunch of guys who were on this football team who weren't even alive when they won that particular game.
I think a lot of them were alive.
I don't think Fitzpatrick was even alive, and I think he's the oldest on the team. But they're 1-10 since 1973 against the Kansas City Chiefs. But
the Chiefs
overall,
have their number.
They do. But overall, they've lost 3 out of their last 4, and that's not a good look for the Washington football team, Sharla.
And, we're talking about a tale of two halves. The defense, again, came out strong the first half. They picked off Patrick Mahomes. We thought, all right, this is looking good.
Picked him off twice.
Yeah, picked him off twice, forced some fumbles. We're like, okay, let's go. I mean, they held them to just those 10 points in the first half. But
balling.
then Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and when Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes, I decided to look up the box score and realize they had almost 500 yards of offense.
That's incredible.
499 yards of total offense the Washington football team allowed the Kansas City Chiefs to put on them, have on them, whatever way you want to say it.
I mean, going into this game, Kansas City was averaging 420 points or yards of total offense and averaging 30 points a game. So they did that and more against Washington.
So here's one of these things, and tell me if you agree. And all the fans at home, or I don't know if you're at home, you could wherever you are. Comment on our Facebook page on how you feel about this particular defense, the Washington football team defense, because I feel like we saw the best out of the Washington football defense in the first half, and in the second half it was suspect. And it goes back to those inconsistencies. But I think eventually you come to a point in time where, like, dude, you're going against Patrick Mahomes. And I think you were with me. We saw one play where he just threw it across his body, and I'm like, what are you doing?
It's insane.
And
it's insane.
It was a perfect pass. So I feel
all of his passes seem to be perfect passes. So you got to be right there on that coverage. And, talking to Cole Holcomb a few days ago, and I said, what do you guys need to do against Patrick Mahomes? And he said, we know that he can do a lot more than just throw the ball. He can scramble. He can run. He can get out of the pocket. We saw all of that day. And he said, we have to be ready. And when you think the play is dead, he said, it's never dead. And sure enough, we saw several examples of that here today, especially in the second half.
Yeah, and so one of those things that, in addition to what you're mentioning, is like, it's like almost like a basketball player. Like Kevin Durant is going to get his. Let's try to stop everybody else. And it seemed like in the second half, Patrick Mahomes got his. And here's what the team had to say on the defensive side in tonight's loss.
Well, what changed the second half was the quarterback's ability to get outside the pocket and make something happen. You know, he scrambled a few times. A couple times he scrambled and threw the ball downfield and made something out of it. So, you know, yeah, it did. I mean, we were able to contain him and keep him bottled up the first half and the second half. You know, unfortunately, he got out. You know, it was one of those things, a little bit of a snowball effect. One bad thing led to another.
You can say this, you can say that. At the end of the day, it's either you make a play or they make a play. And when it came down to it, they were the ones making plays, and we got to step up, work on it, and make sure, especially crunch time, you know, when our offense needs the ball back, that we're the ones making those plays.
This is the time where we got to be men. We got to look in the mirror and, you know, gut check time. Time to go.
All right, so Chase Young is, you know, obviously he's now telling his teammates and himself to look in the mirror, gut check, and make sure you come back out here, or should I say next week, playing a lot better. Yeah. And the thing about it is, you go from one guy who was like an NFL MVP or Super Bowl MVP, and then who do you have next? Aaron Rodgers, another MVP. And he's a reigning MVP.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier for the Washington defense at all. And Chase Young, he did have that great sack. He had that big moment where he was able to take down Patrick Mahomes. But again, you can't play a game and win a game on moments, on little moments. You need a lot of big moments. They just didn't have enough of those. And switching gears now to the offense, they didn't have a lot of big moments either. Of course, we all remember that great touchdown, Taylor Heineke to Ricky Seals-Jones. Yeah. We love seeing that. That was a great play. They got everyone on their feet, everyone fired up here at FedEx Field. We thought, okay, we're seeing some momentum. We're seeing something from, you know, a newer guy, because, of course, Logan Thomas on the IR. But that was kind of the only spark. Then they had all those other drives that just led to field goals, and you can't get field goals against a team like the Chiefs.
So you know me, I like to say what's on my mind, but I'm gonna have a little bit of like sympathy for the offense because they're still missing half of their offensive line on the right hand side. And then Antonio Gibson was dealing with that shin injury, and he was basically he couldn't finish the game because of that shin injury. So they really didn't have all the weapons they normally have,
right? You know,
especially in the receiving core.
Of course.
And who knows how good Terry McLaurin was, because he had that hamstring injury that he missed a little bit of practice on Friday. So was he 100%? Because
that's tough.
You know, we didn't necessarily see Terry McLaurin do big things.
So we're seeing a kind of a banged up offense right now.
Yeah.
And the ones that are playing aren't used to being starters, some of them, Ricky Seals-Jones. So, yeah, we're not seeing the A team, obviously, the team that we expected to see on the field in week one. But, you know, again, I think the biggest thing that they were trying to talk about after the game was that on those drives, when you get there, when you get within 20 yards of that end zone, you got to be able to punch it in. And I think that was the biggest issue for the offense today. Here, have a listen.
Yeah, I wish we'd have scored more touchdowns. I mean, that's, you know, and again, you have to do that against teams like that, you know, and kicking field goals is, you know, is the last thing you really want to do. And, you know, but at the same time, also, the way things did in the first half, I would have never thought we'd have done what happened in the second half. I thought we'd have been a little bit better. I thought we'd have handled the adversity a little bit better.
Just fell short. We're flat, and, you know, Chiefs capitalized and we didn't. So, you know, it's a 4-quarter game. We had a hell of a first half, and then second quarter we just came out flat and couldn't get nothing going.
We knew we needed to score points. And yeah, it's frustrating. Again, you know, we just didn't execute well, and it's tough because, you know, we felt like we had a good game plan, and we just didn't execute the game plan very well.
And they executed some in the first half again, but again, a tale of two halves in this one. When you don't score any points the second half of a football game against the Kansas City Chiefs, you're not going to win that football game.
No, not at all. And it gets frustrating because, and we're going to go back to the Sean Taylor stuff, because you have Sean Taylor's families here when Washington, you know, was playing some good football. Clinton Portis was one of those guys who played alongside Sean Taylor. And I think for the people who are big Washington football fans who've been here for a while, and David Satchel, one of our photographers, he was probably at this game when Clinton Portis ran out with the number 21 flag to honor Sean Taylor. And to see Clinton Portis come here today was a great sight to see. And so I caught up with Clinton Portis to talk about the legacy that Sean Taylor left behind. Talk about the honor that Sean Taylor is going to receive today.
Oh, man, it's great. You know, I think 14 years, we're almost 14 years removed, and for the fans to have this opportunity, it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's better late than never, but to have this opportunity to be able to look in the stands and forever know this number is immortal. You know, it's legendary.
People always want to leave some legacy behind, and Sean Taylor's life was taken too soon. But what type of legacy did he leave behind?
Man, I think, you know, when you look at it, we didn't realize what we had. We didn't realize how special Sean was until after his demise. And having that opportunity to look back, look at the effect he have on everyone now. You know, I think he's bigger at this point than ever before. And then, you know, just having the opportunity to have the people that really love him, that's really special, being able to hang out with the family, everybody getting together last night, sharing stories, man, you know, you don't realize what you have when you're involved in it, when you're doing it. It's like, oh, you know, this is going to last. Like, we're going to do this forever, and it's not going to last. But, again, for them to retire his jersey, to be out here today, to see all these 21s, man, it's unbelievable.
Okay, I'm going to say something on this. All right, you can see here, this is the towel that all of the fans here were given today. And I want to talk about one of my favorite moments, and you saw this moment too.
Okay.
Landon Collins. He came over. This is before the game started. He came over to Jackie.
I'll hold it for you.
That's Sean Taylor's daughter. She's only 14 years old, and he made a point of talking to her and telling her how much her dad meant to him, how much he looked up to him, and that was such a special moment for Jackie. You could see the smile on her face. Then they posed for pictures together, and it was just really great to see Landon Collins do that.
Yeah, that's one of the things Landon used to always talk about. I mean, that's the reason why he wore number 21 when he was with the New York Giants, because he grew up idolizing Sean Taylor. And so, you know, one of our fans at WSA sent us one of the towels that they had for a tribute back when he passed away, and just seeing this towel and seeing his name on here, and just seeing a name like Sean Taylor still live in this place, and knowing moving forward there'll never be another 21 for the Washington football team. It's despite all the stuff leading up to it, it's still a well-deserved moment. That Sean Taylor is probably looking down on his daughter, his family, his brother, who look so much like Sean Taylor.
It's kind of weird.
I think his brother's a football player at TCU. But it was a magical moment, and I don't think we should ever forget the legacy that Sean Taylor left behind, because he touched so many lives, more than I think he probably would ever realize.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It was a beautiful day, except for that big L.
Yeah, the big L. Well, you know how we get things hyped. Oh, before we actually get to it, I just want to Shiloh Bill, we have a comment by you we're going to get to.
Okay, on the
Derek
Facebook
Simpson, we're going to get to a comment from you. Continue to comment on our Facebook page.
We see your comments.
We see your comments. We're going to get to them. So now we're going to go to the high note. You know what that is.
The high note. It's Suited or Booted. It's our favorite segment.
Walking down the runway.
We love our fashion.
Walking down
Sometimes
the runway.
we think we're more fashionable than the players
Is that
themselves.
how you walk the runway? Walking down the runway.
I don't know.
That's not how you do it? Oh, that's not how you do it.
Well, that's how Darren does it. But some days we're not so fashionable either. We try.
Walking down the runway.
We try.
All right, so DeAndre Carter.
Like a little salsa.
Obviously, we're not booting this.
This is fantastic.
We're not booting DeAndre Carter at all.
He planned this out. He knew what he was going to wear today, and he sold it. Fantastic. A complete tribute in his entire outfit to Sean Taylor. We absolutely love it. It's an absolute suited, no questions.
I say suited as well. Perfect timing with that. He had that perfectly planned. I mean, all the gear matches the Sean Taylor. All the burgundy and gold.
Perfect day to rock
definitely, this would be the first unanimous suit. Nobody's booting. All right.
Suited. Okay.
All right. So now we have De'Amni Brown. The rookie.
So I keep zooming in and looking
Look
at
closely.
the face on his jacket. So it took us a little bit. It's Al Pacino.
Well, from the movie Scarface.
Yeah.
So,
it's very random. I have so many questions.
I would quote out some of the lines from that movie, but I don't think we have the bleep function.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we can do that.
But
it's very random. It's completely random, but I'm kind of intrigued. I'm kind of intrigued by it.
A lot of people love Scarface.
Now.
I mean, I grew up a Jay-Z fan,
okay.
and Jay-Z will use Scarface references all the time. So for some people, it's like a legendary movie.
I'm going to say suited only because I think it's really interesting, and I've never seen Al Pacino's face on a jacket.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm torn. Can I get a free suited or booted pass?
You can just say bypass to the next one.
No, I'm a boot it. I'm a boot it. I'm a boot it because I'm a boot it.
Thanks, Will, our director Will.
He says a mulligan.
Yep.
All right. So here for our last one, Marlon Humphrey.
I'm
gonna set this one up for you and all the fans at home. So Marlon Humphrey, obviously, he's rocking a cowboy hat, but this girl right here, she's from Texas. She's from Austin, Texas. Is that how they talk in Texas?
Well, that was
she from Austin, Texas.
Oh.
Is that she's from deep in the heart of Texas, right? Is that how it is?
It was similar to.
Girl, I sound like I'm. What is it? Waxahachie? Waxahachie? What's the town?
Waxahachie.
Waxahachie. I sound like I'm from Waxahachie, Texas. Better learn. Listen, I know the twang down there. Come on, deep in the heart of Texas.
We love the song. We love
we
Texas.
We go to Whataburger. We eat all the food. Deep in the heart of Texas.
So this is happening. Okay.
We go to the Alamo City and see the Alamo. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Yeah.
We go to Austin. We say go UT. Deep in the heart of Texas.
I don't know what's happening or when this became a sing-along.
She's from Austin, but she went to Georgia. But they're number one in the country.
They are. Good on.
All right, let me stop.
Okay.
Let me stop.
So
are we student or booted?
We're going to get back
Humphrey.
to this.
What was that?
I don't know what just happened.
My bad, y'all. Listen.
Marlon Humphreys, who plays for the Ravens, not Washington, for those that might be confused for a second. We thought we'd give Baltimore
Are we
some
still
love.
showing video of Marlon Humphrey by the
but
chance? Well, do you have that on
Marlon
loop?
Humphreys looks like your ultimate cowboy. It's fantastic. He's got the jean, the denim. He's got the cowboy hat. I love it. Deep in the heart of Texas. I won't sing because my singing voice is atrocious.
Come on, give us
But
something.
you know what? I'm just going to give a thumbs up and absolute suit it. Good time.
So I'm gonna quickly look up before we get to our Facebook fans, because I want to know.
Okay.
I put Maroon Humphrey
Well,
because I want to look up where he's from.
okay.
FYI, the Ravens beat the Chargers. I think it was 34-6.
Yeah, they had a great
that's
game.
a beatdown.
The Ravens are crushing it. They're absolutely crushing
He's
it.
from Hoover, Alabama. He's an Alabama
All right,
guy.
so there can be some, country.
Who's gonna be Georgia?
They are not going to be Georgia.
All right. So, anyways, I'm gonna go
Not
straight
gonna
suited
happen.
for that.
I am too.
I
Yes,
say
we agree
suit-
on that.
No,
We
no,
don't
I'm
agree on the
split. No,
singing,
split
but we
decision
agree
on
on-
this. Split decision. Split decision. I'm putting it hammer down. The hat is a suited. The denim whole outfit, nah, bro.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm not
gonna say
rocking the
suit
whole
it.
full body denim. That's
Okay,
not
I'm going
me.
to say suit it. Now let's hear from the Facebook people.
Oh, from the Facebook people? Or is that our time for that? Oh,
Yeah, let's do it.
I thought they were. Oh, first comment says Darren needs to sing more.
That's
no.
not what it says
Comment,
at all.
comment on our Facebook page. Shiloh Beal says, oh, changes have to be made. How do you feel about that?
Changes. Now, what kind of changes? Are you feeling
Oh,
personnel
winning changes? Like
Well,
something
yes,
that makes
but
the team win?
Play changes. I mean, yes, a lot of changes need to be made clearly to win the game. We talk about details all the time. We talk about consistency. Those are things that obviously aren't happening. When you look at the first half of this game, you look at the second half. We're not seeing any consistency. And you hear the players talking about, it's in the details, and we're not doing that. We're not executing the way that we're practicing. So how long will Taylor Heineke be under center? We don't know the answer to that. We do know that Fitzpatrick is still, working to get back to 100%. He's been dealing with a hip injury. We don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. And what's going to happen? Okay, so
right.
What's the next one?
Okay, so the next one's from Derek Simpson. He says, Sean Taylor, miss you, brother. I think a lot of people miss Sean Taylor. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it on TV, I don't know how much they showed. I believe the Washington football team was streaming this.
Yes.
And I'm sure probably if you go to their website or something like that, you can watch the ceremony that took place during halftime as they retired number 21.
Right.
Jonathan Poor, you want to read that one?
Some of the decisions made were not good decisions. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
So who made the bad decisions, though, Jonathan? Is this a head coach Ron Rivera thing, or is this a Taylor Heineke making bad decisions? Jack
that's a
Del
good
Rio?
question. That's a good question.
Comment on our page because we definitely want to know about that, though. But clearly, there's been some bad decision making because we wouldn't be in this place losing 3 out of the last 4 games.
No.
We also have Derek Simpson again saying playmaking was all over the place, got away from the run.
Again, they were banged up a little bit. Antonio Gibson
that's probably a big
dealing
reason
with
why.
that shin injury, and I think McKissick took a hard hit or something. Yeah, there was a lot of kind of issues, and I think they were looking to go to the air a little more. But again, they're banged up with the wide receiver core too, and the tight ends. So I don't know.
All right, so Derek Simpson again. Derek, he must be our number 1 fan.
Yes.
He says defense. What defense?
Oh.
We can't get off the field on 3rd down. Not a winning formula. Too many chances.
That is true. That is, again, we saw some good moments from that
We
defense.
saw 499
but then
total
we saw
yards
Then
of
we
moments.
saw that. Yeah. Yeah, we saw a lot of Patrick Mahomes in the second half. Too much of Patrick Mahomes to win a football game, clearly.
Like always, we always appreciate your comments on our Facebook page. We love you for joining in on our show. Despite if it's win or loss, like the Washington football team did today, they got the L. Your winner's in our heart, and hopefully we can make
that was so
make
nice.
the post game a little bit better so you can cheer you back up. But now it's time to be real.
Okay.
Be real. Will, you better play the music.
Oh,
be real. Yeah, it's time for you to share your final thought, Sharla.
My final thought?
Yeah, your final thought.
My final thought and then my prediction.
Yeah, your final
Okay.
final thought and prediction.
So I was feeling so much hope and promise coming out here today. I'm just going to call it Sean Taylor Day, because really that's what it was. You know, you walk in the stadium, you see the towels waving, you see the jerseys everywhere, you see 21 everywhere, you see his family on the field, a lot of emotional moments. And it started off so beautifully, this game. And of course, they come out strong in the first half. You see that sack by Chase Young, you see 2 interceptions, you see that great touchdown, Taylor Heineke to Ricky Seals-Jones. We're seeing a lot of hope and promise. Halftime, everyone's on cloud 9. You have that 13-10 lead. And then it just went downhill, and it never picked back up. And that's so frustrating for Washington football fans. I'm frustrated. So I still, though, always pick them to win the next week. That's what I do, Darren, right?
Yeah, you do.
I do. I guess I'm still hopeful. There's that hope in my heart. So Green Bay's tough. I don't think there's going to be a lot of offense, even though it's...
This is a long final thought.
I know. I'm thinking about a lot of things. 17-10. 17-10.
17-10.
That's no. You know what? I take that back. Let's go 31-24.
No, stick with your guts. You already put it out there.
31-24.
That's like if you're playing checkers or chess. You make that move, your hand comes off. That's your move. That was your move. That was your move. You said 17-10.
Oh,
and you
God.
said you always pick the Washington football team.
Yeah, but then I realized the defense really has to show up against Aaron Rodgers.
All right, go with your first thought. Who do you think is going to win this game? Be real to the people. Don't lie. We're journalists. We always tell the truth.
It's probably
Facts.
going to be Green Bay.
Okay, so you're going 17-10 Green Bay?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I'm going to make my final thought, but I'm going to make it, maybe a little bit shorter.
Oh,
but,
yeah, sorry about that.
All right, so everybody
you
at home.
sang a song for 30 seconds.
Oh, deep in? No, I'm not going to sing this time. This one's going to be more of like a prayer.
Oh, okay.
To all the people who are at home and trying to hope this Washington football team can turn things around. They may turn things around. Unfortunately, it'll be during the 2022 season. I feel like this Washington football team will continue to try their best. Will continue to try to correct some of their wrongs. However, unfortunately, they are what their record is. And
that's what Rivera always says.
And they are a team that is just not that good this season. They're not the worst because they beat the Giants. So and they beat the Houston
Atlanta.
Texans as well.
They beat Atlanta.
But I can almost guarantee, mark it on the board. I'm giving Domino's Pizza to the whole WSA 9 newsroom. If this happens, if they beat the if the Washington football team beats the Green Bay Packers, I'm ordering pizza for the whole newsroom.
Okay, let's go, Taylor
for the whole
Heineke.
newsroom.
Let's go, Chase
They are
Young.
not beating. Our director says extra pepperoni. No, I'm not. Listen, that's extra. That's extra. We're going straight cheese. Straight cheese. If you want
He's
extra,
not
you give me
spending
some money
any
for that. I'm
more
just paying
money
for
on
straight
us.
cheese. Listen, the Green Bay Packers, I believe they lost their first game of the season, and then Aaron Rodgers was like I don't know if he was like, it's not time to panic or something like that. And they have won now 5 straight games.
Yeah, they look good.
No,
And
they
Aaron
look
Rodgers looks like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they look really good. And you think the Washington football team can go to Green Bay and win out there?
Well,
No, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. Listen, they're losing this game. Charlotte's gonna wrap up this.
yeah.
They're gonna lose
Well,
next week.
it's another loss here, 31-13. Another frustrating day because, as we all felt after the first half, Washington could have won this game, but they did not play well. Where did he go?
Deep in the heart.
But you know what? We're all smiles because we love doing this show every week. We just hope that one day again soon we can
win.
talk about a W. One day again soon. I'm Sharla McBride. He's Darren Haynes. Thanks for watching, guys.
Rest in peace, Sean Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're ready to do it right now.
No, let's see. No, we have to just convene for a hot second.
Well, definitely Sean.